Hello, my name is Yaida Ford. I'm an attorney here in the District of Columbia, and I am coming back with an update on the COVID-19 vaccine ordeal in the district. As some of you know, a judge last week in DC Superior Court overturned the mayor's mandatory vaccine mandate for all DC employees. So I've taken a chance to go over the opinion and order. Several people have been calling. I just want to give people kind of a backdrop as to what happened and why would the court do this and how is a judge able to do this. But this definitely is an example, kind of like a modern day civics lesson on separation of powers. The judge's primary reasoning was that as the mayor, the executive branch in our city does not have the authority to issue a mandatory vaccine policy without the approval of the DC Council. The DC Council had an opportunity to extend emergency authority to her to do and implement a vaccine mandate. The DC Council twice refused to do that, and so the mayor attempted to circumvent that and use the regulatory process where the DC Human Resources Office implemented a regulation that made it mandatory for all DC employees. Well, unfortunately, even with that, the regulatory period or before a regulation can be adopted, there is a 30-day period for comment and response. And the mayor and DCHR circumvented that comment period and implemented a final rule or policy or regulation around mandatory vaccines for DC employees without allowing that 30-day period. So violation of due process there. And that's why the police union challenged the mayor's vaccine mandate. So it was the police union that filed the lawsuit, and with far-reaching effect, the judge has ruled that not only is this was the mayor's action or the executive order unlawful, but it also she will have to reinstate all District of Columbia employees who were terminated pursuant to this policy with back pay. So this is a pretty sweeping ruling, but also an example and a lesson to all of us to pay attention to executives, not just in our city, but pay attention to what's happening nationwide in our city and different states as it relates to executives taking sweeping measures to address health and safety issues in various jurisdictions. Most of the time, a legislative body does have to address that. I think that is what the Supreme Court's reasoning was when they decided not to implement the president's vaccine mandate. Why isn't Congress doing this, was what the Supreme Court said. Why are you asking us to get involved with this? And so I think that it's important for us to understand when we are discussing these issues and even considering policy measures like this, to understand what the genuine issues are, what the real legal issues are. It's not necessarily a political war or debate. This is something that really is thousand-year-old doctrine in our country, and that is the separation of powers, and things have to be done in order and within reason and according to law, and that simply just wasn't done here. And in fact, the initial emergency powers that the DC Council granted the mayor, that came from the council back in 2020, included, gave her the ability to do lots of things, but there was nothing in there for a vaccine mandate because vaccines didn't exist at the time. So the mayor did go back to the council, and let me just add that executive orders are only live for 15 days. In order for the mayor to have an executive order in place for longer than 15 days, she has to get approval from the DC Council. It is black letter law. And if they don't give it to her, then she can't do anything. But even then, the executive order has a very short time span. So several folks were terminated pursuant to the unlawful mandate that was given. And I say folks, I mean DC employees. This only applies to District of Columbia employees, does not apply to private sector employees, but this may have some implications for private sector employees who had religious exemptions denied or medical exemptions denied behind the vaccine mandate. So there is now some authority that you can use, whether or not you are a DC employee or an employee of the District of Columbia, to utilize to say that you may have been unlawfully terminated. Again, not giving anybody any legal advice, just indicating that there is some law now around this issue. So thanks to everybody who's called and asked my thoughts on it. This is just a brief snippet. It's a 17-page opinion and order citing lots of laws and regulations, and even the mayor had a rebuttal that she felt that she had the authority to levy a vaccine mandate pursuant to a particular code. But the court very thoroughly addressed those arguments and struck them down as without merit. At the end of the day, right now, the law is that the vaccine mandate for DC employees is no longer in place. Does not affect anyone else except District of Columbia employees. And so if you have any questions about this and the implications and your reinstatement, please call my office. If you need representation, the number is 202-792-4946. It's good to be with you all. I look forward to providing another update soon. Thank you. Ciao.